Welcome to another episode of The Read Pile. Today I'm talking about The Exile, which just came out 2 or 3 weeks ago as of this recording. It came out and I hadn't pre-ordered this, but my comic shop manager showed it to me and I'm like, can you get me a copy? Because I would like it. And I should mention briefly, I don't think I've ever spoken this out loud, but I have implemented sort of a rule, and this breaks that rule. In the process of reading and going through all of the stuff in this room, which is one of the reasons for this series of videos, and cleaning stuff out and getting rid of things that I no longer enjoyed or that I've never read, that I bought years ago and just never read. I accumulated all of that in the first place because I would just buy things and then it would go into a pile that I'd never get around to reading. And so I didn't want to add to the pile while in this process. I have continued buying books. That might be obvious, but it's things like Hellboy that I've been a fan of for a long time, and I know what I'm getting into. It's stuff like this that I used to buy more randomly. I just say, hey, this looks cool, I'm going to buy it and I'll read it later. So I did break my own rule on that, but thankfully it's justified. This is an excellent book, and just to get this out of the way, I do recommend it. I come from Swedish descent, so my grandparents had come over from Sweden early 1900s, and I've always found their history, the Norse gods, more interesting than the Greeks and Romans. So I'm very much interested in the Scandinavian, Icelandic, Swedish, all of that, the whole region, the whole Viking era. Just fascinating. And so this is squarely in that. It's extremely well researched. This forward talks about some of that. The families that are in this. The story overall is fictional, but a lot of the stuff is historically accurate, and there's a lot of strange terms in this as well. So he mentions that there is both a bibliography and a glossary at the back, which is helpful. If you can't figure out a term from context, you get definitions for things here at the back, which is just phenomenal. So this was originally put out in the Netherlands in Dutch in 2019. There was a Kickstarter last year, 2022, in order to do an English version, and this is now in my hands. And as I said, it's excellent. It's the story of roughly 3 families. So there are 2 families united by marriage. So we've got we've got a husband and a wife, their extended families, and then there is another family that they are in conflict with. But the exile is a man that is returning home to Iceland. We don't know immediately how long he's been gone or why he was gone, but that is revealed later. He's got this amazing art. The whole thing is done in this black, white, red, and this kind of bluish gray style. Reminds me a bit of Becky Cloonan's indie stuff, but it's just phenomenally done. So as I said, there are roughly 3 families here, and then some additional characters. I'll show this too. This is the cast. I didn't need to reference this, but I did find this a nice addition. I don't know that anyone else has done something like this. But that's the whole cast. Their names, their relationships. It's quite good. It's very handy. So a man has died, and he leaves behind a widow and a son. There is another man trying to marry the widow, trying to get her lands, her holdings, And at the same time, that man's first son returns home. He was the Exile. And that is the origin of the conflict that's happening. And everything else unfolds. Maybe predictably, maybe not. But I enjoyed the twists and turns. It's 184 pages, 184. And it ends in such a way where it's the type of ending where that I enjoy the most, where the story that was being told is over, but it's, what am I trying to say? It's clear that the story continues, that this is a snippet of time for them, that things will go on. And it's not so much a sequel tease as it's just the world continuing and the acknowledgement of that. So I hope that makes sense. And you'd have to, I think, read this to understand what I'm trying to convey. But it's well done. It's an ending in which you know that the characters' lives go on, even though you don't see it. And I really enjoy that stuff. I enjoy imagining where characters go after the end of the story. And this does that. The story itself is fantastic. The art is great. I do recommend it for anyone interested. I don't remember how much this is. Does it say? I don't see a price on here. Oh, $40. $40. It's great. It's recommended. If anyone is interested, I definitely recommend grabbing this. And it was translated into some other languages as well. I don't remember what, like French and German. German, French, Italian, and Spanish. So if you are anywhere in Europe, you should be able to, and Czech and Arabic are underway. So if it isn't already available, it should be soon for, I guess, anyone in at least the European nations, the English-speaking, not Asia yet, but I recommend it. It's fantastic. I loved it. Once I picked it up, I had a hard time putting it down, even while I should have been doing something else, but we won't talk about that.